We received a press release last night after a meeting with the Post Office board, something of a compromise for Ballasalla. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. Obviously, we had the board meeting. It is a statutory board. It's a board structure. Alaman Post Office aren't closing post offices, but when we get resignations, retirements, or people wanting to move on, with their own business, we have to then do something about it. So obviously, we've had our retail strategy to Tynwald, and we are following the principles that were approved by Tynwald. So obviously, we went out to consultation with Ballasalla. That was one of the commitments to Tynwald that we would. And we went out with a proposal, a suggested possible way forward to get discussion. And, we're grateful for everybody that did respond. So the proposal that was put out initially was for a kiosk, a self-service type service in Ballasalla. However, we are looking to enhance that and go out to offer a more individual, personal service.
So this is a service partner. So it's not a sub-postmaster. It's not a kiosk. It's something in the middle.
Well, obviously, there'll be a kiosk in the vicinity, but one of the concerns from a lot of people was they wouldn't know what to do, and they'd need help. So, as a board responsible, we've got to have responsibility. We've got to be financially responsible as well. We felt, well, we need to look at something in between here to try and satisfy as many people as we can.
So, what does this person do, or what's it proposed that they will do?
Well, obviously we've still got to go out to tender. It's the government procurement process, so there'll be a specification there for what they need to be involved in. It's not somebody is going to be employed to do this. Obviously, it's a full package that we're putting out there to make sure we get the right person on board to host the mobile unit for doing postal services and to help the public, help the people.
There's been a fairly unprecedented response from residents of Ballasalla, other users of the post office, local politicians, the local authority, an awful lot of people getting involved in this, more so than we've seen with the discussions about other branches around the island. Do you think the views of those people have been taken on board with this decision?
Yes, definitely. Obviously, we've got all of the responses. Interestingly, though, Dollin, majority of them were by email, so that tells you the way people are choosing to communicate these days. Obviously, we did have some letters, but we did as a board yesterday. It was a near 4-hour discussion around it, looking at every option and all of the responses that we'd received, and we had a full business case in front of us with all of the details, and that's when the decision was made on that.
Is this an attempt to pacify residents and users of the sub-post office there?
Well, no, it's not pacify. It's we've listened, and we want to make sure that we've listened and we can put a model in place that, that it's a pilot really, because we haven't done this anywhere else, to put a model in place that perhaps will support where, obviously parcels is a concern for people that the kiosk can only do 5 kilograms. We're going to look at all that. And when we go out,
parcel collections will be introduced. That's one thing that's been tweaked, is it? So
well, parcel through a kiosk you can do parcels, but there's restrictions on weight limit. But there's restrictions anyway on weight limits. So, obviously when it goes out, the full tender process will go out, and hopefully we will get a partner that wishes to work with Alaman Post Office and our trusted brand.
It says that collection of benefits in person will need to be accessed from an alternative post office, use of a proxy, or directly paid into a bank account. Is that an area of concern for users of the branch, do you think? Because that's something that people express an interest in being able to do, or still able to do in Ballasalla. That's not going to be the case.
Yeah, that was certainly an expression of interest from some of the individuals. Obviously, we as Alaman Post Office act as an agent for the Treasury for the benefits section. We've fully discussed, before we've made a decision, we've fully discussed this with Treasury. Tynwald approved that there'd be a postal service, counter service within a 3-mile radius, and, we do have that with Castletown. I'm sure there will still be some people with concerns, but the proxy system is there. It's a tried and tested system. People have to prove that they're the correct person to be acting as a proxy for individuals. So, and you know, that solution's there, and our customer, who is Treasury, are content with that as an alternative.
It feels like you have the residents and the users of the post office and the local politicians who want X. You have the Isle of Man Post Office Board who want Y. This is something in the middle. Is that kind of the final offer? Is there any more room for negotiation about the remit of this service provider?
Well, obviously we're on quite a tight time scale, and that was part and parcel of when we get the resignation. There's 3-month cooling off period. So,
and it says obviously that you want this appointment to be made before the sub-postmaster leaves, completes the notice period.
Yeah, that's what we really hope and envisage. We need to do it to make sure there's no break in service for the postal service in Ballasalla.
But there's no more movement on the remit that's currently been.
No, that's a full board decision yesterday, and you know, we will go out to tender and look for a partner with that in mind.